Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, please. Please start working for me. Well, it says there's an excellent connection, but we can't see my face. Oh, maybe. How are we doing? This is killing me. There is clicking sounds as... Yes, back in business, hopefully. Oh, there we go. Oh, man. I had to reinstall my audio drivers this morning, and OBS didn't pick them up. Well, weirdly, OBS picked them up, but OBS Streamlabs didn't pick them up. Oh, man. There's always something wrong. Can we see? Yes, we can see the box in the background, although it's not looking particularly great. I had to restart my computer, so all my everything I had set up ready for the stream has all disappeared. Oh, dear. Oh, tricky stuff, isn't it? Tricky stuff. Hopefully. I mean, we had quite a few viewers on, but hopefully people will join in again. There's always something wrong. Always something that goes wrong for me. Okay, so what are we doing today? Let's just say hello to people. Blue Lotus, nice to see you. Super Dirt. Hit the Road Jack. Ashley Barnes. The Witch Basket. Haven't heard that name before. Corey S, nice to see you again. Interpixel. Blender Tutorials and Art. Minotto 200. Jack Skellington. Jack Skellington, I recognise the name. Have you been on before? Or do I recognise the name from somewhere else? Nicho Knight. Ooh, not sure about that one. Have we seen you before? Let me know if it's your first time on here. Usually everything works swimmingly. That's not the case, actually. But there's always something that happens. I don't know. Is it because I'm using old kit or something? I'm not sure. It's so frustrating. I've got this really expensive mic here, and it's quite an expensive sort of little system. The Focusrite, it's called, but it's quite an old Focusrite. So I thought, I'll update the drivers, and it all went wrong. And then when I was trying to change it earlier, I was changing it on the wrong channel. Oh man, it's all over the place. The Wi-Fi seems to be okay at the moment. Say that, not too loudly. But I had this really other weird issue with it, that I've got a really long lead going from the router to my computer. So I plugged in, and if I plug in, I get 10 meg. If I unplug it and go on the Wi-Fi, I get 43. You think, what? Crazy stuff. Okay. Hello, Jeff Foucher. Yes, I got your email. So yes, the three brushes are the grab brush, along with the dime top, the multi-res. What's it called? The snake hook, grab brush and snake hook, draw brush, and the crease brush. That's the crease brush. That's the grab brush. What am I doing with my hands? Okay, so we are making this box today. That's the plan. Okay, so why is my... Oh, I thought my mouse had broken. Just hadn't clicked on the program. Let me just check everything's working here. I think we're good. So, you should use the cable. Yeah, but if I use the cable, then suddenly my internet drops down, and I'm better on the Wi-Fi. It's really weird, isn't it? What's going on? I did talk to someone about that, because my internet provider is really good now. And I said, I'm getting only 10 megs, and they said check things, and found out my wire was being weird. But it could be the wire. It's just an ordinary cable, so I don't think so. Yeah, an Ethernet wire. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with this. Right, so I'm a bit flustered because I've had to reload everything. So this might take me a few minutes to get myself sorted. But that's what we're going for, something along these lines. I mean, it doesn't look that great there, but that's probably the to do with the rendering. I think this is actually an older version as well. Let's just go to... Mine Cycles. Cycles, crazy. And let's go to color management. And... yeah, if I put the contrast up or something. Yeah, it looks a bit better there. There we go. Not that it makes much difference. Okay, so are you ready to follow along? Right, so I've got the Discord up. Let's get the Discord and see who's following. So live stream channel. Oh, I've gone all coffee now. Nothing to do with any viruses. Getting a tiny bit of hay fever. The router wired is 10 megabits, whereas the wireless runs at about 54 megabits. Yeah, but when I plug it into a different computer with a different wire, this is, maybe it's because I've got two wires going into... What's wrong with my throat suddenly? I'm getting there. But on another computer it's absolutely fine. So don't know what's going on. I need a gigabit LAN router. I've got quite a decent router, but anyway, it's not Corona. It's not. I'm fine. I'm not ill. No, a tiny bit of hay fever. I've had it quite bad the last couple of days. Just getting really tired. I used to get it really, really bad before I changed my diet. We won't talk about that either. But I used to get it so bad, and it was like having flu. But now it's just I get a bit tired. So diet makes a big difference to those sort of things. So well worth it. Right. So here we are on the Discord server. So all the people there, glad you could join us. Hopefully. Extreme pants on, I like it, Minotto 200. I thought I was going to say 2000, but that's the upgrade, isn't it? 200 there. You can chat here too, Peter 6. Yeah, I mean, we'll chat on the stream because then I'll read that. But this is meant to be. What's this? This is meant to be for weird gifts. It's meant to be for the ribbon. Your work. So I want to see some cool work. There's plenty of gold stars to be had. So we're going to work on this. Well, I'll start afresh though. We'll start afresh. File, new, general. Don't save. Right. All with me? All got your blender ready? I've got version 2.9. Not that it makes much difference, but there is a couple of things, if we get that far, that are quite useful in 2.9, and they've sort of upgraded. The multi-resolution modifier is what I'm talking about, and it could be good. Right. So, what I want you to do, actually... hang on. Let me see. If I go to the Discord and put that on the screen for them, where's the Discord gone? Did I just close it? No, I didn't. It's just there. Right. So look at the image. Where's it gone? There's loads of people chatting. Okay, looking at this image, try and model this to start off with. So a bit of an intermediate level. So don't worry, I'll go through it in a second. But have a go at getting to just modeling. So flat box modeling. Try and get to this stage. So you're indenting these little triangles. Basically, that's all you're doing. Okay. Yes, the live stream will be available after it ends. Hello, Hercules Art. No save. No, I didn't. That was just should be fine. James Green, nice to see you. Making boxes indeed. So I've got 2 students on, I think. Are there any more students? Because this is their college day. This is their lesson. So I've got James Green. Although Charlie Rigdon is an ex-student. I saw him on here earlier. So nice to see you too, if you're still watching, Charlie. Have you started? We're about to start. So you've got a French lesson soon. Shall I do it in French? Commencez... Commencez-vous? That's about as far as I can get with my French. We can use the default cube as long as you delete it and load it in again. You're allowed to use that. So trying to get this shape here, okay? Trying to get that shape there. Why I can't do super chat? Should all be enabled. Did I unenable it somehow? You should be able to. Enable. Yeah, it should be. I don't know what's going on. No, don't know. So should we try a test? If everybody tries it to donate, we're just testing it out. No, it should. No super chat option in chat. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. What's this then? Oh, insert ad. I can insert an ad. That just seems wrong, doesn't it? But I suppose I could insert ads and go to the toilet at some point. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. What's this down here? The super chat is available. I think down at the bottom of the chat there's a super chat option. No, I mean it doesn't. Oh, there we go. Milan has donated. So there we go. If you are being kind enough to donate, you can always go across to the PayPal. There's a sort of PayPal link underneath, and it will come up on the stream as well. It should do anyway if it's working, but YouTube is really awkward. I was joking about using the super chat. Don't feel you have to donate. That was a joke. But thank you very much, Milan. And why is the sound not coming through? That's weird.
Ooh, well, thank you very much.
It is coming through. It didn't come through for Milan, but it came through for Biliros 3D. thank you very much to both of you, sponsors of this channel, sponsors of today's broadcast.
Ooh, well, thank you very much.
Ah, that's interesting. Milan's came up now. But it's working. We're good. So it is working. Thank you very much for testing that. Much appreciated. Didn't actually mean for everybody to to start donating, but very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Okay, so how are you getting on with your models? Do post them in here. Oh, thank you very much. Another one. Good morning, and thanks for these awesome live streams. Vidatum cat car. I better turn the sound down for that. That is noisy, isn't it? Right, let's turn just my main volume down, so it'll be normal for you. Hopefully, is the thank you very much audio coming through for you as well? Anyway, hey, there we go. We've got Irish Jack. Well done, and that looks pretty awesome actually. Interesting way of modelling it. I mean, I'm quite interested in that because you've got some n-gons there, but it looks quite nice and clean still. And you can get away with n-gons with this because n-gons are fine on flat surfaces. As soon as you distort them slightly, then they go a bit weird. However, I would suggest not using it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peloros 3D again. Very much appreciated. But yes, when we start using the multi-resolution modifier, if we get that far, well, we will get that far. I always, well done, James. Good work. One of my students there, James. Hey. It's nice that you're still keen for the blend. Keen for the blend. Does that make sense? And Milan as well. Thank you very much. It's going very well for me today, isn't it? So watch out for n-gons because we're using the multi-resolution modifier. And it works a bit like the subdivision surface modifier. So ideally, try and keep things to quads and triangles, and it will work that little bit nicer.
Very much.
Loving the noise. Love it. That's great fun. Okay, so I'll start modelling it myself. Now, did any of you think to do a mirror or that sort of thing? That's one way of doing it. I reckon the easiest way is to... There's so many ways you can do it, though, isn't there? So many ways you can do it. Oh, Nils Ververs Lupke. How do you pronounce a U that has those two dots on top of it? I'm really showing my ignorance now, and I'm sorry about that. But thank you very much for your donation. But does it blend? Indeed. So
thank you very much.
Trying to figure out the best way, and I think there's so many ways you could do it, isn't there? I'd probably do a loop cut, I reckon. Couple of loop cuts. Well, I'll just start with one, and I didn't mean to do that. Control R. Shortcut keys. I'm in 2.9. I forgot. I didn't install the shortcut keys in 2.9. That's a bit silly of me. Okay, Control R. I'll just say it really carefully. Control R, move that to the side. Control R, move that to the side. So they're roughly the same. I mean, you could line them up properly and move them properly, but I'm being rough because it's a dirty old box. So it's got a bit of organic feel to it. So I've got that. And then, yes, you could just use the knife tool, couldn't you? And come down like this to create that middle bit. And K is for the knife tool, and then you left click and left click again. And you've got some triangles there, and then you can take your triangles, select those two triangles, E to extrude and pull them inwards. Okay, so we've got that one side, but I need to mirror that all across. Yes, exactly, Bilidos 3D. Am I pronouncing that right? It's not mirrored, and you can't mirror it because this thing will go the wrong way, and it just won't work because we've got a thing going across it. So what do we do? What do we do about that? Have a think. How can we quickly make this go on the other sides? I need some music to sort of suddenly start when there's a people thinking time. So mirror's not going to work. Good morning from Canada, Tarbash, from the Egyptian magician. Malam or Mawanam. You look good. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I like that. Inset bevel and knife tool is yep. This tissue add-on. What the? What's that? Do you know an array actually is a good idea? That I hadn't actually even thought of that myself. So you can have a gold star there, Blender tutorials and art. Yep. That's certainly one way of doing it. I think that possibly an easier way than an array, because we would have to rotate something exactly Milan. It's just easier because with an array we'd have to have an empty in the middle and we'd have to array around the empty, and it just gets a bit confusing for beginners. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to wireframe mode up here and select that lot there. Okay, delete that. So I've got my faces there, and the edit point is in the center still. Okay. Is it possible to use inset faces on multiple sides? Yes. Yeah, it should be fine. Right, so we've got this. I select all my faces, Shift D to duplicate. But before I do that, well, in fact, I'll do it now, and then I'll show you the mistake that I've made, sort of thing. Shift D to duplicate, and then RZ90. Oh, hang on. What am I doing there? That's not right, is it? I've done that wrong. Don't worry. If I go into, well, I can actually. No, I'll do it because my 3D cursor is in the center. If it's not in the center, so what is it? Shift S, cursor to world origin. So there you go. So Shift S, cursor to world origin. Shift S, because I haven't got my shortcut keys there. Okay, so make sure your cursor is, and then you can rotate. Make sure your cursor. Why am I going all weird at the moment? Make sure your cursor is at the center of the grid, and you haven't moved your cube, obviously, and your object centers there. So we can go 3D cursor, and then I can RZ90. Oh, and I've got to duplicate first, don't I? So I'll just do that. So Shift D to duplicate RZ90, and it will go around like that. But we've got the problem. If I go to what's that called? Vertices, vertex mode, and grab one of these vertexes here. Vertexes. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? Look, it's got all wrong. So I want to merge those vertices. So if I select them all for now, I can press M in 2.9 or 2.83. 2.82 and below, it's Alt M. So if I press M, and by distance, it's going to merge those 4 vertices together. So I grab one, G to grab, it's fine, okay? But I can also come up to the options here. You don't have to go to the options here. There's different places, but the options here and go to Auto Merge. Okay, that's under your workspace settings. You can also come up here now. Look, they've got an Auto Merge vertices. I'm not sure if that is that in 2.83 or 2.89. I'll get lost now with all the new versions. We've got a few questions. I have Blender 2.79. RN right now, would you say it's worth upgrading to the latest version? Definitely. Massive upgrades, definitely. You've got Eevee, you've got all the sort of particle systems that they're working on. Cycles is faster, loads of stuff. Working on the ArtKit, good. Can we use rotate empty as object offset for an array? Exactly that. That's a bit awkward though, isn't it? But yes, you can do that. So this I think is the easy way. I now can select all and press Shift D RZ 180, and it will go around to the other side. Okay, and let's select. I'll go back to face mode now, and select. Go to side view there, and select these. Okay, so we've got 2 sides. You can see where I'm going with this. Shift D, and you can see the y-axis is going across in the green. Y90. And now we have our box, and it should all be merged because auto merge is on. So if I go back to vertex mode and press select one of these, they are merged, you see. Okay, so there we go, got my box. However, I should have sorted out the n-gons first, shouldn't I? I suppose we'll see how it goes with the n-gons, shall we? Oh dear, tricky. I mean, I suppose they're easy to sort out. We'll just, and this is good practice, isn't it? 2.83 is not even rolled out yet, but it's in beta, isn't it? So beta, it depends how you pronounce it. We can select 2 verts and J to join. Check the Discord, I'll be there in a second. So I'm just explaining how to make this. J to join, and I should have done this beforehand, shouldn't I? J to join. J to join. There we go. We're making some quads. Oh look at that one. Oh yeah, of course. Now that was silly of me, wasn't it? Because I didn't do it precise. So we're going to have some verts that are off like this. Okay, so think, what's the easiest way of sorting that one out? What's the easiest way of sorting it out? Oh, that's a good point. Bella JB. Yep, check the normals. We'll come to that in a second. Let me know if I'm going too fast, because it's sort of, it's slightly beyond complete beginner, but I wouldn't say we're quite intermediate. It's sort of easy-going intermediate level at the moment anyway. Merge the other ones. We'll keep quads and not triangles. Which other ones? Merge the other ones. You could go that way. Yeah. That's a, yeah. But then there'll be a triangle in the corner here. Anyway, we've got these slight issue here. 2.83 is coming out in June the 3rd, is it? Gotcha. Yes, indeed. Super Dirt. Use snapping to vertices and just do it like that. Quite right. So I'll come up to the top here. There's snapping there. And if I turn snapping to vertex on, so make sure the magnet is on and in highlighted blue, you can just select these and G to grab, and it should snap to the other one. Didn't work for a moment there, and I was a bit confused. I mean, you can actually just GG as well. Edge slide it across to the other one like that. Although you can't. It's because they're not merged, so you can't do that. Forget I said that. Not doing very well today, am I? Right, so I'll just go across these, selecting these, making sure they're all together. Like that one there's slightly apart. That one there's way apart. And a little bit of a rough box, this, isn't it? Crate. And you can easily forget a side as well. So maybe this wasn't the easiest way of modelling. I don't know. Yeah, so we're all there, all there, and there. That's looking all right, isn't it? Let's just check with one of these. Yep, they're all connected. Okay, so let's see what people are saying. You could, that's a good point, actually, increase the merge distance because they were quite close to each other. Oh, look, there's some around here. So if I select all and go to M with 2.9 or Alt M with 2.82 and 2.8 to 2.82, can't remember what it is now with, it's removed doubles, isn't it, with 2.79, but I can't remember that. And by distance, we can just turn this up, can't we? That would have been a better way of doing it. Oh, there we go. And they snapped. Did you see that? They snapped. You just got to be careful because these are relatively close. So if I go up too high, suddenly, there they go. They all jump into each other. So I can go that high without that happening. Okay, so we've got a box there. It was a long-winded way of doing it. Does it matter whether you merge these? Yes, yeah, it will make a difference because we're going to sculpt in a second and suddenly they sort of pull apart as you smooth things out. So always make sure things are merged together and not just sitting on top of each other. Yeah, that's right. The mirror wouldn't work because of the this angle of this is wrong. And we could have done a really nice easy one and just add a dent in here without the cross beam, and you do see some crates like that. So I probably should have just chosen that for a beginner tutorial, shouldn't I? Hello, Rationalistic. Appreciate that. Yep, thank you. Trying to catch up from the start. Let's have a quick look, see how you're getting on then. Discord. Oh look, there's loads of people on today. This is cool, isn't it? Okay, so right. Oh, hang on. Right, so I think this is the point. Hello, Richard Siani, 14-year-old indie game developer from India, learning a lot from the Blender tutorials, and I want to please upload a tutorial on how to make guns. Go for it. Nice one. Try the tutorial from Daniel Craft. I've seen some of his work. Well, it certainly rings a bell. I can't remember off the top of my head who that is, but yeah, I definitely recognise it, and I recognise it being a good one, good tutorial person. Irish Jack, we saw Irish Jack, didn't we? Yeah, that's good work there. James Greens as well, we saw, nice work. And people saying hello. Hercules Art, good job. Darkness 4498. There's a number for darkness. It's the level of darkness. Why not just knife through? Yeah, I mean you can knife your way through. Oh, that's a quad way. I like that way. Oh yes, look at that. I see. That's what you meant. Knife your way through that way, and you keep the quads. Oh, that's good. You can have a gold star there. Darkness 4498. Good job. Let me just see if I can recover that then? I'd have to do them again, but I mean I could still do them, couldn't I? Because K for knife tool, and then you cut through and press enter, and K for knife tool. I mean, I suppose I'll do you see, I'll get problems here, don't I? That's the problem. So what you'd have to do here, probably need a triangle there actually. Yeah, probably just a triangle going up there. But yeah, we can triangulate it in a second anyway to make life easier. Where was I? Discord server. Right, so here's the link. Oh yeah, sorry, it was that's my fault because I had to restart the stream because of my audio. Sorry about that. Cool stuff. Yeah, thanks for reposting that. Super Dirt, nice work. How are we doing? Oh, we got quite a few on actually, 250. I hope you're all working on this and not just watching along, scared that someone might look at your work. This is good. Yep. I pressed the middle mouse button to move around it. I often do that. So the middle mouse button, as if I'm going to rotate around the cube. Oh, one of those days, I tell you. That looks good. There's, I see you've got a sort of triangle in there. I suppose there's still an end gone here, though, isn't there? It's tough. You end up with loads of cuts everywhere. Inset and knife tool. Nice work. Cortolaris. Is that right? The red on grey is tough to read, actually. I did it with instant mesh. Triangulate the face. Actually, just checking you can all see me, all right? I'm sorry, see the screen behind me. I suppose I ought to make this there. If I make that there. Make that there? All makes sense. And then it's next to me and you can sort of see what's going on, can't you? Cool. Yep, inset. Inset. Yeah, I hadn't thought about the inset tool. I see, you've inset there. And then you, okay, yeah, that does make sense, yeah. I hadn't thought about that. Make love, not guns. Quite right. Yes, indeed. Do you recommend, hello Greyjack Gaming, nice to see you again. Do you recommend downloading the alpha beta version of Blender or the current official releases? It depends what you're doing. If you're doing anything with multi-resolution modifier, go for 2.9. Although it's still glitchy. I did send a bug report recently. They'll probably turn around and say, what are you talking about? Fluid particles, Mantaflow, then 2.83 is going to be the one. But anything just normal stuff, 2.82. Normal stuff, is there anything normal in 3D, hey? King HGH87, nice work, looks good. Ludwig S. Extrude and Boolean went Boolean. I beveled and got quads. Oh, that's interesting. Bevel, and then no, you haven't got quads. Look, because there's a end gone. Had to really think then. Quads from the bevel. Okay. You almost got a gold star for getting quads with the bevel. Only quads and tries, yay! Let me just check. It does work actually, doesn't it? I was going to do the middle mouse button thing again. Yeah, I mean, fixing topology is not hard. It's just time consuming. That's very true, isn't it? Zephyr. Cool. We got loads in it. Oh, look at that bit of ambient occlusion there. Oh, very nice. Cool. There's loads. There's millions. Twice the slice. Spaceman 9080. I added seams into Pixel. Got some seams already. Oh, that's jumping ahead a bit, isn't it? Herschel, the art kid. And sorry, I'm going to quickly zoom. We got loads of people on. What's going on? Loads of people doing it. Nice, excellent. Yep, that makes sense, doesn't it? With a quad there, I think that works, doesn't it? I think you can get quads all over. Like, oh no, the triangle at the top, of course. But yeah, Ngons probably won't work with the workflow we're doing. I should explain the workflow as well, shouldn't I? Because so we're going to build the box, add a multi-resolution modifier to it, and then we're going to try some baking, which may go really wrong. We'll see. I mean, if you like, you can go for there's a 2.9 glitch on save, is there? Interpixel turn on cavity. Yes, cavity is the same thing, isn't it, as ambient occlusion sort of thing, isn't it? Yeah, it looks quite cool though. Keep up the good tutorials. Thank you, Skynet, scary stuff. Skynet. If you've got a question, make sure you at Grant Abbitt, then I know it's directed at me rather than someone else in the stream.
Well, thank you very much.
Do you approve, or do you provide any internship? No, I don't provide any internship. I don't really have the resources for that, or the time, unfortunately. It'd be quite nice though, wouldn't it? Tutorial about hair. Yeah, I'd like to get into that more when I get the chance. I'm doing lots of courses at the moment, so twice the slice, nice work. So yeah, we'll get on that. How do I rotate around the center at Grant? Okay, so let's just explain that. Sorry, I'm getting really coffee. So can you see my 3D cursor is right in the middle of the scene, and you put that in the scene with Shift S, cursor to world origin, and it will. So if I Shift right click over here, it'll move my origin. Shift S, cursor to world origin. Given that your box was in the middle to start off with, if I create one side like this and use the pivot point, the transform pivot point as 3D cursor, then I can grab a whole side and rotate it. So RZ being the Z axis in Blender anyway, RZ90, and it will go book around to the other side and should match up exactly. What was the reaction on Boolean? Was that a bad idea, you think? Booleans are a pain because of the topology they create, but in this case they should be fine. So I was being harsh. And I think it's possibly a little bit slower, Boolean, because I don't know, maybe it's quicker. It's whatever you like, and if it works, it works. That's the thing. Any opportunity working with you in person? Are you near Ipswich in England? Possibly. Maybe I should give that some thought. I should give that some thought, shouldn't I? Start a little internship school or something. That'd be fun. Split the diagonal plank down the middle here, and that does not quite make quads because we've still got this area here, you see. So it's not easy. I'll tell you that we'll just make triangles. Have you thought doing a level design tutorial? Yeah, maybe. That'd be good. We could set this all as triangles. That might work better with the multi-resolution modifier. But let's... Yeah, so... I forgot to explain what our process was. Okay, so... we start off with a base box like this. Then we add the multi-resolution modifier to it, and then we can use that for our sculpt to go from the high poly to the low poly to make our textures. I don't think I said that very well. I'm a bit frantic at the moment. That start with all the mic going wrong and everything has made me a bit weird. No, I'm just a bit weird anyway. So we turn this into a multi-res that we can sculpt on, sculpt some details, really simple stuff, don't worry, if you're not into sculpting. And then we're going to take the high poly detail from the multi-resolution modifier and bake it on in the form of textures. Okay, so it should be nice and simple. So I'm going to use my graphics tablet for this, but you can quite easily, if I've lost my pen, there's my pen. You can quite easily... hey Grant, I used to work for BT at Marsham Heath. You're very close by. Marsham Heath, I live in Marsham Heath, and BT is just across the road from us. How about that? Yeah, they've got lots of international workers there, haven't they? Vida, Tam, Katkar. Yeah, I worked there for a little while, doing some 3D stuff. That was sort of my first dip into 3D. But yeah, anyway. Is it normal to feel unmotivated to use Blender for a couple of days? I feel I get this feeling when I see very professional models, to be honest. I get a bit like that as well. If that's the feeling you get, then don't look at them if it makes you depressed, don't look at them. Look at stuff that's more your level. Try and find a forum that's more your level, then you can sort of maybe a beginners forum, or maybe the Discord is a good place because there's lots of beginners on there trying things out, and then share your work with them and get that sort of community feel, rather than looking at ArtStation or something and thinking, oh man, that's going to take me years. So I still feel like it's going to take me years to reach some of the heavy heights of that stuff. It's awesome, isn't it? Okay, so we need to add a multi-resolution modifier to our cube. So hopefully you've all got to this point. If you haven't, then and you're struggling, then just work on your basic modeling and don't worry too much. We can cut this up and we can add some texture to it without the multi-resolution modifier. Triangles can cause artifacts. Yes, they can. The multi-resolution modifier should sort that out. We'll see, won't we? So add modifier. So with the spanner over here. I call it a spanner. Other people call it a wrench, but I call it a spanner because I'm British. Is making a cube in Blender hard? There is a default cube. I'm assuming that was a joke. Add modifier. Multi-resolution modifier. Okay, so we want to, let me think. We want to keep it simple. So I'll click on the simple, and the Catmull Clark. You see, if I you can't use it in edit mode, so I'll come out of edit mode, and if I subdivide now, it'll go blobby, blob 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 like that. So we don't want that unless you want a crate that looks like this. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. In fact, I'll just close the multi-resolution modifier because there's no way to sort of undo it. There sort of is or isn't. Add modifier, multi-resolution modifier, and choose the simple option, and it will subdivide it, but you won't see any difference. So it's subdividing it, but there's what the heck happened there? I don't know actually what happened there. Some sort of glitch. Oh, I like that, Tyler Dane. I like your little spanner there. In fact, because you're a moderator, you get a spanner on your. That's quite funny, isn't it? Or wrench, depends what you like. So I've gone to 4 levels, right? And will it show in wireframe? No, it doesn't. I can't remember. There is a way to show it, isn't there? Someone told me this yesterday, but I'm not sure what it is. Doesn't matter. But that's subdivided lots of times. Now, if I go across to what? Yeah, but this will work in Unity. Now, if we go across to the Sculpting tab, and let's say let's just test and make sure it's working. You can see I've got Topology to sculpt on. I've not got Dyne Topo on at all. It's using the multi-resolution modifier. It's still a bit blocky though, isn't it? So we can subdivide again, and we. Oh dear. What? Oh no, that's a glitch, isn't it? Right, I just undid those steps, but you know what I was saying about 2.9 and which version to use? Let's try and subdivide again, shall we? Oh, I did it that time. Let's try sculpting again. Let's go to sculpt mode again. It's working. I'm getting very concerned about this. I've got a feeling this might not work out how I wanted to. So I'm going to save this point. Glitch mad. It probably has transcended the 14th dimension. Yeah, I'm going to save this. Save as. Save as. And save it as wooden crate. Follow along. There we go. My save file was off, the save screen was off the screen, so don't worry too much about that. Glitch in the matrix. Multi-resolution you can sculpt on, subdivision surface modifier you can't, but apart from that they're very similar. There's some extra things that the multi-resolution modifier can do. The default cube, I should have deleted the default cube and created a new one, because the default cube's probably being a bit excited that it's being used and all that sort of stuff. It gets a bit weird. Do I still have a lone knife edge in my mesh? Did I do that? I can't remember. I started chatting, didn't I? I suppose I've got some n-gons here. There's one here, isn't there? No, there isn't. I mean, it might be the fact that we've got n-gons. Well, we'll try. We'll just try it. Now I've saved. Let's just save again. I'm absolutely sure. I'm going to try triangulating my mesh. So in edit mode, select all and Control T will triangulate. And you can see it's added triangles everywhere. And that's basically what a game engine will do anyway. And when you render it, it does that anyway. So any n-gons, any quads, it turns them into this. Okay? So the only problem is when you're selecting edge loops and things, it can just be awkward. So ideally you'd do that after marking your seams, but there's really simple seams on here, so it won't be a problem. let's go back to, oh, I'm in sculpting. Let's go back to sculpt mode with tab. I'm in sculpt mode and see if that's all fine. That's all okay. That's good. Now, let's undo that twice. I think I need a different met cap on. So you got your met caps under here. They're all going to be a bit weird, aren't they? Yeah. Look at that one. What the heck is that? Yeah. So yeah, this little down arrow here, you can change your met cap. That's the one I usually like the most, but it's a little bit tricky to see, isn't it, with the shading? But we'll just go with that. That's not making any difference either. Oh yeah, so that's a good point. If your computer's a little bit sluggish, then you'll have to keep with the texture painting rather than this is for slightly more powerful computers. But 5 shouldn't be too bad. I think most okay-ish computers going up to 6 might start lagging a bit then. So F to resize your brush, and Shift to smooth, and we can just sort of smooth out that edge there. Maybe the scrape brush even. That's the scrape brush there, and that sort of scrapes the edges. It can be quite a good look. I've got mirror on at the moment, so in fact, if I turn all 3 mirrors on, it should... Yeah, it's doing okay. Just panicking slightly there. So if I go along here, then I only have to do a third of it. There we go. So we sort of harden the edges. What do you call it? Not harden the edges, but, you know, made them a bit more realistic, basically, because that's what would do. Okay, so that's with the scrape brush. I've got my multi-res subdivided with simple to 5 levels. Okay, I noticed I was going a bit fast there. I have triangulated my mesh as well, but did you notice how I can do that? If I go to edit mode now, the mesh still looks like this, and I can edit my original mesh. I can add vertices and all sorts, and then go back to sculpt mode, and all the way up the levels, it's done those changes. I think that's incredibly amazing. Make sure you @grant Abbitt with 2 B's and 2 T's and an I in the middle, if you want to ask me specifically any questions, because the stream's going quite fast at the moment. You have 5 subdivisions and it's still blocky. That's surprising. Triangulate and see if that's still the case. I mean, if I zoom in, it still is a bit blocky there. I could go to 6, but I'm trying to keep it so everybody could follow along, because we will shade smooth later. Is there a smooth in multi-res? No, there isn't. We will shade smooth later, so we won't see too much of this sort of details and things. Okay, so I'm going to just go round. Now, let me just think. I haven't rotated my cube at all, have I? So I'm just going to make sure the overlays, the X and Y is on. I don't know why they're turned off, actually. But I find it helpful to know which way I'm mirroring. How do I decide what to model? I usually just look on Pinterest and have a look and see what other people are up to and think, oh, that'd be a nice idea. Let's have a go at that. So again, I can't use the mirror for all 3 angles because this is going the wrong way, but I can mirror across the Y-axis. So I'll turn the Y on. There's the mirror there. So hopefully, and you can see that little dot on the other side there, I should be able to do all this side down here like this. Well, I went over the edge a bit there, so I can smooth that out. It's going to look a bit weird there. I'm being a little bit rough. That's not so good. We'll do a crease in there in a minute. And just sort of smooth these edges out so they've just got a bit of a bevel to them, basically, is what I want. Oh dear. Making a hash of this a bit. Okay, so there's a little bit of a oddity there. We can get the crease tool. I'll make my brush very small and just crease that up a little bit. So it creases in. Is that the best tool, actually? Might not be. I suppose we want the crease tool to come down there. Well, let's do that with the draw sharp. We'll do the draw sharp. So I'll do it all on one side to start off with. Draw sharp is the best one for drawing those planks in. So it's coming across there and down there like that. And remember, I've got the symmetry on Y, so we should see the same on the other side. What the hell has happened there? What? That's probably my triangles, I think. That's weird, isn't it? It's fine on this side and not on that side. There's lots of glitches. Oh dear, that's frustrating. Maybe the multi-resolution modifier isn't quite there yet, because that looks dreadful, doesn't it? Do you know, I have tested this and it worked fine, but was I using 2.83? I think I was, yeah. So maybe I should just reload in 2.83. It's going all weird, isn't it? Okay, let's see what happens to the other side. Okay, it's worked now, hasn't it? So I just smoothed out a bit there. So I'll draw a line down there, and what's that do to the other side? It should be a direct mirror, and it's not, is it? I'm going to subdivide once more and see what happens. Maybe it's just not enough topology. Just going to do a few lines there, and the lines are going the wrong way. What's going on with my mirror? Okay, I'm just going to sort this out before I answer any more questions, and then I'll have a look at the Discord. Because there are different ways we can sort this out, but I feel like I'm going to start confusing people if I go down those roads. So let's just smooth that out for a second. I'm just going to press N on my keyboard and see that the rotation is all set to 0. So the y-axis should mirror perfectly. Oh, but I'm being an idiot, aren't I? I'm being an absolute idiot, because it's not mirrored, is it? I rotated it, I didn't mirror it, so it's going that way, but that's also going that way. Oh, what a plonker. The box is not symmetrical, so I should have answered the questions first and seen what people were saying. So making those purposeful mistakes really helps the students, because they can see the mistakes that they might make before they've made them. So obviously this isn't a mirrored cube, is it? And did you see how well I acted the fact that this was a mirrored cube? It was very convincing, wasn't it? Absolutely convincing. So whereas I was saying and pretending that I didn't know that this wasn't mirrored, and saying that there was a problem with the multi-resolution modifier, which is something that a young student might do, where in fact the cube wasn't mirrored. All along I knew this, of course, and indeed Blogra gold star for me for acting so well. Indeed, thank you. Okay, so what we'll do is turn off the mirror, because of course you can't use the mirror here, can you, for goodness sake? And let's start drawing in with the draw sharp tool, and draw in some crevices. Yeah, so we're drawing our box, and so we will actually have to go all the way around. Some people, they make these mistakes, and they don't own up to the fact that it's a mistake at all, and they say it was all meant to happen. So there we go. Wood is pretty easy. Good evening, Stefan Zillon. KTB, nice to see you again. Acting 1000. Oh yes, indeed. Exactly. That's why I should have actually flipped them, shouldn't I? Then I could have used the mirror, but I rotated them, which was again a silly mistake to make. But I purposely did that, of course, to make you see what's going on. Can you show your topology? Yeah. So into edit mode, I've triangulated this with Control T, so you got all these triangles everywhere, and it's quite messy, really, to be honest, and not symmetrical in any way. Oh dear. Okay, let's see how you're getting on with the Discord server. Hopefully you're doing better than I am. Way, it's not ideal to multi-res sculpt then triangulate. Yeah, it should work, but maybe because you've sculpted. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? In fact, I'll go back to. Oh yeah, lots of people are doing their sculpting. Oh, there's loads of people doing stuff. Whoa, man, there's millions. Okay, so I'll go from here if that's okay. Just see how people are getting on. Looking good. I think I may have seen these already, actually. I've forgotten where I was. I don't think you can see it properly. I use default cube and knife tool. Didn't use mirror or anything. Oh, so you cut it all up. Cool. That might serve you better. I'm trying to edit the cube settings. They grayed out. Do you mean down here? So if you scale it or do anything to it, then it will. You can't edit it in any way. But just work with the default cube, and then you won't have scale that's out or rotation out or anything like that. How do you untriangulate? There is a way actually. Tries to quads or something, but I can't remember what it is. You save before you triangulate. This is unsatisfying. I think it's all right myself. I thought this was going to be a bit easy, but I've really messed it up. Oh, this is where we were, wasn't it? Yeah. How do you get 2.9? It's at the in Blender, blender.org, on blender.org. You go to the downloads.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chai the Papaga. Please keep up the good work. Also, please post this somewhere so I can watch later. Yep, will do. You probably won't want to watch this one. It's pretty horrendous. But there's some great acting on it. There's a playlist with all the live streams, and you can just go to the latest one in my playlist section on my channel. Yep, so under there, in Alpha Build, you can scroll down a bit from the downloads. It's got 2.8 up there, 2.82, and scroll down a bit, and there's experimental builds. Go experimental, I think they call it. What's going on here then? What have we got going on there? That's cool. Looking good, looking good. What's happening here? What is going on with all these things? Oh, it's already made an infinity curve. Oh, looking good. Whoa, mine's working fine. But that does not look like a crate. Why just bevel all of it? Why sculpting something like this? Because then you get this sort of natural look of a sculpt. So you just quickly go down it with a scrape tool. I mean, it should be quick. Yeah, that's a bit of a pain, isn't it? Really nice. My snapping tool isn't working. Just make sure you've got the actual magnet on as well. So you can change it here, but you must have the magnet on as well. Hopefully that'll start working. My wonky cube, delightful. Yep, there we go. We're getting there. Right, let's get back to our cube. Sculpting, sculpt mode. Tab into sculpt mode, and we can just. I find the draw sharp's quite a good brush for this. I think they introduce the draw sharp into 2.82. I think they have, haven't they? So we can just go through like this. Although it's tricky. Oh man, I can't see anything. The shade. I suppose I could have. If I was being sensible, maybe beveled first. But you see, whatever you do to your low res, you sort of have to. It doesn't work with the multi-res if we want to keep it really low poly, you see. Let's go back to the scrape tool just here. To quickly scrape down these, scrape down those. It's a little bit quicker, I suppose, with a graphics tablet. I'm using a Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. That's what people usually ask. And down here, oh, my brush went a bit weird then. And down here. So we're sort of getting there with a really basic cube. I'm trying to be a little bit quick now because otherwise it gets boring, doesn't it? Watching me just. But that's a lot of the time you are just sort of weirdly beveling edges, like we're saying. Why don't you just do it with a modifier? Because the bevels will look really obviously computed, straight and rigid and stuff. Yeah. So we're getting there, just this side, probably the bottom as well, I think. Went a little bit wrong with the scrape brush there. But it's wood, it's natural, it's organic. As I was sort of saying about hard surface, there's hard surface modelling in there, where it's all very rigid. This is kind of hard surface modelling, but it's becoming organic when we start sculpting on it like this. But yeah, in the video I just released, talking about Gleb and A.D. Burrows' new course. That looks good. Does look good. I should put the link on here, shouldn't I? It's an affiliated link. So I get a tiny percentage if anybody clicks on it and buys with it. Which is pretty cool. Nice of them to do that for me. Where are we? Yep, so the draw sharp tool. Bit of smoothing. And you can always draw some planks in here as well. That's a bit weird though. About there. About there. And about there. Well, that's not very good actually, Grant. That's three planks in here. 1, 2, and 3, and that one's continued up there. There we go. Planks. Looking good. 1, 2, 3. Notice I'm not going all the way to the bottom because I'm just being really rough. I'd be a bit more precise if I was. But you'd be surprised what you can get away with, actually. This will inform our... Well, that's not that you can't get away with. This will inform our cavity map and our normals, which for our texture, for the low poly. There we go, coming up there, coming up there. So I'm doing it really roughly, so we can be nice and quick. Have you used Huion, and if so, would you recommend them? Yep, they're good. They do well. The Huion, I like them. Huion, possibly a touch more expensive than some others, aren't they? The Huion. Then let's say the UG, I'm thinking of. They're a good brand as well. XP Pen, similar. The Huions, I mean, there's not much in it. XP Pen, UG, Huion, Gammon, they're all pretty much the same. It's just the drivers thing. And sometimes you just can't get the drivers to work for you. And I've had that from a lot of people saying, oh, I can't get the drivers to work. But it's just one of those things. It's really frustrating. And that's a notorious problem with graphics tablets. Okay, I think I've got most of them. Just up top here. Let's get that one. So just go around with the Draw Sharp tool, digging in. So you've got the topology already here. What was I saying? Yeah, just making sure that my stream was running all right. So we've got new topology because of the subdivisions up here, and I've subdivided with my sculpt to 6. The preview is what when you're moving around. When we go back to layout mode, that's what we'll see. We'll see the preview version. In sculpt mode, it'll be 1 higher, so it improves performance with the viewport, is the thinking. It's a little bit glitchy on the end there, isn't it? But hopefully it's going to work. Hopefully it's going to work. That's a good catchphrase for me, that, isn't it? There we go. Almost there. That's got them. I'll do some planks. 1, 2, 3 planks. They're a little bit off, aren't they? Let's not worry about it. There's one there. Got some there. Got some there. Just on the bottom there. It's cartoonified. Oh, there's one here as well. Very organic planks. And do you know, it's not looking that bad, is it? Especially when you look on that side, I've got some lines there. We're all right. The VEIKK A15 for around 38 quid. I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty good. Sorry, I've been sculpting away, so I might have missed some questions. Tried Huion, yep. Mine crashed. How can I recover? Yep. So, file, recover, last session, and hopefully, autosave. Open an automatically saved file to recover it. Yeah. So you should have an autosave, and it'll take you to the autosave folder. Recover the autosave. Go on, I almost pressed on it then. Well, I think that would have, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to save now, actually. Save. It does make some slightly large files, this, when you've got lots of topology in your scene. Okay, so it's already late. Bye. Good night, everyone. Tejas K, nice to see you. Yeah, the Huions and Wacom's conflict, that's the problem. You cannot have one graphics tablet and then hope to plug another one in. You have to uninstall all the drivers. And I've had problems with that. Artisol, I think it's called, or Artisol, you know. They tried to send me a graphics tablet. It looked really nice. I was really looking forward to having a go with it, but it just wouldn't work. Even though I uninstalled all my Wacom stuff, something was interfering with it, and I couldn't get it to work. Oh, buffering. Oh, what did I lose? Some. Are we all okay? It's not saying there's any issues, but I've noticed there, it just went off excellent connection for a second. Yes, now I should have used four-way radial symmetry for the sides, and I would have been fine. I really did it a stupid way to start off with, and I was not thinking. Yes, I think that's exactly it, isn't it? It's the single file that hides an app data that causes it, I think. Probably something like that, Rebel Angel. You're quite right. We're all good. Do you use quick favorites? Yes, I do, especially when it comes to smooth vertex, because I quite like that tool. That's a good one. Reminds me of Crash Bandicoot. Yeah. I've got a student who's obsessed with that. He must do Crash Bandicoot everything. This is interesting. This is very interesting, isn't it? The magnet is on, but it's still not working. Are you sure you've got... hang on, let's go back to layout. The vertex, not increment. Vertex. If it's not working after that, it must be a bug, I think. Which is a bit of a pain, isn't it? Let's just see. We're getting there with some sculpting. Delicious. Liking it. Well done, people. A similar tutorial for Substance Painter. I don't use Substance Painter enough to really be able to do tutorials with it. Maybe. First ever game you played, Tyler Dane. One of. What tool did you use to smooth the edges? That was the scrape tool. So I'll go back to Blender and I'll show you the scrape tool once again. Back into sculpt mode, scrape tool. It's quite a good one because it sort of, well, literally scrapes the edges. Quite like it. I mean, it's a little bit rough around here, isn't it? Not looking so good. I mean, that sort of splurges inwards. I'll probably have to use the crease tool on that. But even then, it sort of goes a bit weird. That's the only thing sculpting with a multi-res. It just does some weird things. And you sort of get used to why, because there's lots of topology in that sort of area, and it's a bit thicker, and it is a topology issue, because remember, it's not like Time Topo, which is sort of re-topologizing all the time. Let's get the scrape tool down there. So scrape tool down here on these sections. Okay, so the next stage is, again, with the draw sharp. I think the draw sharp's a bit of a winner here for this sort of thing. Do some... what do you call them? Grooves. Grain, wood grain. I mean, they can look like that, or they can just literally be lines like this, and that's fine. Try to make some thicker and some less thick. So zoom in with a thinner brush, and you could even what is it? Under the sculpting brushes, I've got the radius you can change to when you draw lightly. It gives you less of a line, so I'll make my brush a bit bigger, and then draw firm, and it gives you a thicker line. Not a thicker line, but do you know what I mean? It makes the brush bigger, which is quite cool. So you might want to go for grains like this, just by doing a bit of an oval like that, or you can just do lines. Going for a bit of both. Might want to make those a bit deeper, these ones. I'm being very rough, as I keep saying, just to try and pretend that I'm a good artist. Good artist, really. I'm just being quick, you know. I'm actually an amazing artist. There we go, looking brilliant. That's a bit weird though. What have you done there, Grant? Yeah, there we go. Sort of wood grain. I mean, you can sort of have the wood grain sort of going off this way as well. Oh yes. Oh yes. Brilliant. And then you have to go around doing that because we haven't mirrored it properly. Because you're an idiot, Grant. Just nice lot of lines. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, in here as well. Make these ones a bit deeper. I'm going over the edge there a little bit. I mean, it's much quicker with a tablet. That's certainly the case, isn't it? That they are quicker. I mean, some people argue that it's not, you don't produce better results, but generally speaking, I think, in my opinion, if you're serious about this sort of workflow, then you'll want to get a tablet. But I mean, you could do this with a texture. You could get a sort of wooden texture and do it. Oh, I've got the scrape brush there. Do you still use metaballs when sculpting? Not now they've got the remesh. The remesh is awesome, so I don't really use metaballs much anymore. You don't really need to. You can just use any sort of object as a metaball. Metaballs can be quite useful though, because they sort of link together in that weird, funny way. So they can be useful. I'm not saying they're not, but personally I just find it quicker to model the objects. But it does depend on what your specialties are and stuff, so just do whatever's easiest really. So I'm just going around doing some lines like this. Trying to be quick about it because I should have used the mirror properly. I used the rotate instead of the mirror. I mean that's oh, what was I thinking? And I did that the first time I did it as well, but for some reason I just didn't realise what was going on. What a silly. How did you do the details? The details / wood. Yeah, you just with the draw sharp here. Draw sharp. Just some curves here and there, and whoa, without pressing middle mouse button, I'll press N to get rid of that panel there, and just draw some lines, just some lines like this, and the occasional little sort of hook like that. So a little hook, and that does the wood. And you can do a little hook inside that hook, and then you got a double hook, and you got that sort of eye thing there. I mean, it's like I say, I'm being very rough, very rough. I'm just trying to do it quickly because we've got about another hour to show you baking and stuff like that. Although there is a bit of a glitch with this, so which is stupid, really, because I'm showing you something that has a glitch in it. I probably should have chosen something else to do, really, because you can sculpt this with Dine Topper if you want, because the glitch means we can't bake from the multi-res very easily. Let's just go up here and do some up here. How long left of the bake part? As soon as I've done the other sides, we can bake some cookies. Yep, mark it with a B and put it in the oven. Is that a B for blender or B for bread? Or I'm going to not do any hooks anymore. I'm just going to do some lines. Yep, using a stencil with a wood alpha brush would be an option as well, and quite a quick option as well, so probably a bit easier. Right, we're almost there. That's just this side to do. Okay, so hopefully you're up to date and you're doing your beautiful, beautiful wooden crates. It's kind of just to show you the workflow behind creating game assets. And some of you might have thought this is probably a long-winded way of doing it, and it is. There are quicker ways. This gives you the best results, and then the sort of quicker ways give you pretty good results as well, let's be honest. But it depends how close you're going to get to these objects. That's always the case, isn't it? So if they're going to be predominantly in the scene, or if they're going to be in the background, you'd use different methods for each. And a lot of the time, actually, it seems, from what I gather anyway, from just looking at games and things, a lot of people just, companies use just the shortcuts anyway. And the shortcut for this is to use just one of these sides and then repeat it all the way around. So have your normal map, your color map, your roughness, metallic map as well if you have it, all the way around. Have you ever tried creating modular characters, for example, separate hands from arms, so separated hands from arms, so you can exchange them in Unity and have you succeeded? I've never done that in Unity, but I've done aspects of it before for other people, but not done it myself. Yeah, if you put the multi-resolution up too high, you soon get a bit stuffed, don't you? That is, but it's all learning, it's all good, because you do find these things out as you go along, and we've all been there. The multi-resolution crash, or the subdivision surface modifier crash, and you think, well, how high can this go? So loads of my students do that. The computer just crashed. How high do you go? 8? Oh dear. Okay, so we got an okay-ish looking box. Sort of ish, anyway. It's all right. Right, so let's see how you're getting on before we start marking our seams. Oh, how did you subdivide? Subdivide simple. Microwaved dirt. Subdivide simple. So over here, under the spanner, put it on simple. So you might have to delete your multi-resolution modifier, add it again, turn it to simple, and then it will keep its shape. But it's good that you posted on there, but then everybody can see what's going on. Yeah, this is weird, isn't it? These glitches. I'm assuming it's to do with the triangles and the n-gons, perhaps. But are you using 2.9? Let me know if you're getting that glitch. Are you using 2.9 or 2.82? Because I'd like to know if there's issues. Excellent. That doesn't look too pixelated. It'll be fine when you get to the bake. You'll be all right. This one's looking... There was one looking good here. Yep, that's looking good. There he is. I like that. And I like the wagon wheel. Level 100. Yeah, definitely. I'd say 101 now. It's going up all the time. It's looking good, guys. Looking good. How are we doing? Oh, we've got more people on. So there's a bevel there as well. I don't know whether boxes will look that beveled, but maybe. Yeah, that's cool. And we've seen a few of these before. It's looking good. Looking good. Well done, people. So hopefully you're all sculpting away, having a bit of fun, or getting really frustrated. When it's cloudy, rainy and cold, I'm on Blender. Otherwise, I'm on the telescope watching the stars. What is the weather like where you are now? Pen tablets make life easier, definitely. It feels a bit too detailed. Yeah, I probably did go a bit too detailed. I probably should have done it a bit more cartoony, shouldn't I? Yeah, I think you're right. It just looks, a bit too grainy now, doesn't it? Yeah. So you just going to generate normal map from this to get those bumpy on low poly model? Yes, indeed I am. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. Now it's about to be clear. Yeah. So, but obviously you have to do that at night, don't you? Is it night where you are at the moment? I opened Asperite. I'm not sure what that is actually. Hit a wall with Blender. Keep going with Blender. It's just massively rewarding, isn't it, to do stuff in 3D? Absolutely loving it. Okay, so we're just about there. So I'll go back to the Discord quickly, give you a bit of time. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's sculpting scale. I mean, that looks really awesome, doesn't it? And that is, let's move in a bit. A really nice looking box, actually. Even the edges look good. And that's where you usually get a seam. So it's quite tough. So tell us, did you use just the one map? I mean, did it just have one side and you copy that across? I can't see that much repetition, but it does, yeah, I suppose maybe. Tricky to tell. It does look like there is a bit of repetition, but maybe not. Or did you unwrap it and there was a box texture that you used? Or did you paint it on? It looks good, though. It looks really nice. Will these streams continue after virus won't be virus that won't be there? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Probably not on a Wednesday though, because I'll be in college. Turned Dine Topper and it crashed. Oh dear. What's the Discord link invite? It's in the description. 2.9, it's a new build every day. Yep. I don't understand whatever language that is. Marco Lukic, I think it is. It's doing the weird multi-res glitch in 2.81 even after making everything quads. That's a bit strange, isn't it? I don't know why. It sometimes does it when it's not manifold, so if there's any holes in there. Just one face of the image, same on every side. Yep, that's the way, isn't it? And that's a nice, and it's surprisingly good in where the seams are. Surprisingly good, isn't it? It's lovely texture, really. I mean, I suppose they're quite harsh when it comes to light anyway, so really, maybe we should be doing it like that rather than the way I'm doing it. It depends how sort of cartoony you want it, how how personal you want it, I suppose. But that looks lovely, doesn't it? I like it. I'm going for half cartoony, half real. It does look a bit weird, actually, this. Rushing it. Stop rushing. Oh, yeah, improved grease pencil. They're talking about grease pencil in 2.9 as well as a few things in there. Are the lines in the wood created via texture or sculpting? Sculpting in this way. And this is, so we're using a sculpting workflow for making game assets. That's the thinking. So, oh dear, excuse me. So I'm going to go back to layout mode. And let's just have a quick look, make sure we're good. Now, there's a glitch in the multi-resolution modifier, so I will actually have to duplicate this cube in order to bake it. So what I'll do is Shift-D to duplicate. That's weird. Why do you jump over there? Oh, it's because snapping's on. And I right-click and it will go back to the middle. Okay, so they've got to be right on top of each other. That's important. I'm going to call this cube high poly, or box crate high poly. Crate HP. And the other one is crate LP. Any tips for new modelers? Always start with low poly work, I think. It's just the best way. You get your eye in for creating 3D, gets you used to the programs. You can create nice artwork quite quickly. Yeah, definitely the best way. So the crate LP, I'm going to delete the multi-resolution modifier. Okay, so it's gone back to this really blocky thing. So there's the high poly there, low poly there on top of it, sort of thing, like this, yeah? And the other important thing is to shade smooth on both, so that, in fact, sorry, create the crate HP, I should call it box really, because it sounds like create too much, doesn't it? I'm going to apply the multi-resolution modifier. Now, normally you can just bake straight from the multi-resolution modifier. I'll show you that function. So if I go to the baking, the rendering, you have to be in cycles to bake, so I'll change the cycles now. And down in the bake section, there's a tick box here, bake from multi-res. So the fact that I'm creating a new version that's got the high poly on, and the original version that is the low poly, should all be done by the multi-resolution modifier. So it's a bit of a pain that there is that glitch. Don't use auto smooth, use smooth shading. So right click shade smooth on the high poly, and you can see that's all smooth now. This is one resolution low though, remember, because we're in preview mode. That's preview mode 6, and they're down to 5, so you can see just a little change there. Actually, it's fairly drastic in some places, isn't it? So I'll keep that on 6. And that's another glitch about the multi-resolution modifier, is that it takes the preview mode instead of the rendered mode when it's baking. I would have thought it would look at the rendered, but it looks at the preview. When did this start? 3 o'clock. Hello, Darkside. Nice to see you. And Gary Goldberger. Nice to see you too. So yeah, don't use the auto smooth, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So I'll bring back my low poly. So my low poly, I've taken off the multi-resolution modifier. The crate high poly, I'm going to apply it, so it actually applies all that extra detail. I'll just hide the low poly now. So make sure your preview's on 6, your highest, and then apply. And so that now that's it's applied it, so it's all one model. If I go to, I better not go to wireframe. How many? Oh yeah, how do you see faces in 2.9? They did say in Blender today, but I've forgotten. What was it? Is it in overlays or something, was it? Can't see. I suppose if I go to edit mode, it will show me anyway. Yeah, you can see there. You can see all the faces. So it's very, very high poly. And it's quite messy as well. Look at that topology. It's probably why we're having so many glitches. Okay, back to object mode. So we've got the high poly's ready, and the low poly's there as well, right on top of it. And we've got a shade smooth on the low poly. It looks really weird when you shade smooth. What's happened? Oh, hang on. You're telling me where it is then. It's in overlays, geometry, wireframe. Oh, you mean as in to show the wireframe? Yeah, I was just thinking I'd like to have a statistics. Okay, overlay statistics. That's what I actually meant. Where is it? Ah, there you are. Hey, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, they said it on Blender today, didn't they? Well remembered, Corey S. Nice work. So you get your statistics. They used to be down the bottom here, didn't they? But now they're over the side here. And I've got this is my whole scene, isn't it? So there's quite a lot of faces in it. Yeah. Just looking at the Oscar Joe Mama saying, is it possible to make a model with bad topology to save time and then project another high poly object like a cube so it's fixed? Yeah, and then you can shrink wrap. You can do that. It's not that easy, really, to be honest. You have to retopologize and understand retopology, generally speaking. It's like butter in your ear, my voice. Thank you very much. It's just that British accent people like. Pixar, it's just 700k indeed. Okay, so we've got the high poly, we've got the low poly. What we need to do now is unwrap the low poly, and that's really nice and easy, generally speaking. We'll go into edit mode, and I'm going to unwrap it like it's a box. Because I've triangulated though, I can't alt select these, so I'm going to have to control select my way round the top here, which is a bit crappy, isn't it? Control takes the shortest route from one to another. And then Control E marks seams, so it turns red, and that's now an object on its own when we unwrap it. So I'll come down here, and I'll just go round, obviously every face, and unwrap it. I mean, you could unwrap it like a box, but I'm just going to go round like this. Control E mark seams. If you can't be bothered to mark seams, then just do U Smart UV Project, and it's the really quick way. This will do a better job though. Hopefully, I'll say that. Mark seams, and down here, Control E mark seams. So Control E mark seams. That's a good one for if I press Q now. No, what is it? I'll right click, add to quick favorites, and then if I press Q, mark seams is there. That's handy. Milan, thank you very much. How to recover my old account on Discord? I've no idea. I wish I could help. Sorry. Does anybody know? How does Milan recover his old account on Discord? Don't know.
Ooh, well, thank you very much.
No, so my PC has crashed and my low poly progress is lost. But remember, you've got file, recover, autosave, it might be there. Should I apply the multi-res? So keep your low poly. I've got two versions. So I've got the high poly. I'll just come out of edit mode there. So I've got the high poly here, which is the multi-res applied to it, and the low poly where I've deleted my multi-res, okay? Makes sense? That's weird, isn't it? I don't understand, Milan. I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, so if you want to bake, that's what we're doing. We're baking. If it's not been deleted, go to forgot password. There we go. Try that. Okay, so we've got our high poly and we've got our low poly, and we need to make sure that our low poly is unwrapped. So we select all with our seams marked. Oh, I didn't have one down here. Control E, mark seams. Oh, I can press Q, mark seams, because it's in my quick favorites now. So just check that that's all unwrapped. I mean, all marked. UV editing is the good workspace for this, and we can see our seams. Select all with A and then U, unwrap. And there they all are. And it's all right. I mean, you should be able to go sort of conformal, and that might tidy up a bit. Not really, actually. I think it's actually better angle based, because we've got a bit of stretching going on. It's all right though. I'm not going to worry too much about the whole getting this looking really amazing. We'll just keep it as. Okay, so hopefully people are up to this point. I'm probably going a bit quick at this point, but I know I've got a sort of like 30-minute gap going now. So I'm just, where are we? Was it? Oh, Discord. I'm going a bit crazy. That's looking so good, that. That's just gross. It does go a bit weird on the corners and stuff, but actually, it's all right. I like it. It's good. I like that. Yep, that's good. You got the low poly, high poly, and you've gone shade smooth with the low poly, and it looks all weird, doesn't it? But that's okay. Yeah, still working on those. Love it. Oh, there we go. How to recover Discord account. First, open Discord and go to dialog box, enter your email. Can you put that in the chat? And I don't have to read it all out. That's really cool. Thanks, Tenko. Okay, yep, that's good, Minotto. You're getting there, unwrapped nicely. Looking good, people, looking good. Let's get back to Blender. Okay, so we've got it unwrapped. So we're ready to bake onto our texture here. So I'm going to pull down another window because I like to have my shader editor here as well. So I'm going to get my shader editor up and press N to get rid of that window there. That's the hardest thing, is getting these windows out if you're a beginner, and then joining them together. Right click in the middle, which look, I can't find the middle with my mouse. In fact, there's a glitch. Oh no, I thought there was a glitch. Join areas. It's getting even harder to find the middle. Thanks K-Blade Studios for your help there. Okay, so what I'm going to need is a texture to bake to. I did say actually, didn't I? I need to right click shade smooth there. So it's nice and smooth and looks really, really weird. Did everybody hear the dog? I'm going to get asked to hit, I want to see the dog, all that sort of thing. Hopefully no one heard it, and I didn't mention it either. Hello Imp Rules. Okay, so again, we need a texture to bake onto. So down here we can create a new texture. New, and we'll call this box norms. Box norms. And it's 1024 by 1024. We don't need the alpha. You could go 2K if you want to, if you want it really detailed. And no, there's no dog. No dog here. And then press OK. So we've got a new texture. Box norms it's called. Ooh. Now that's weird, isn't it? I'm not sure why it's doing that. And that's something someone said earlier, wasn't it? Which is check your face direction. Face direction. Just go around. It should all look blue. If any bits are red, then you probably had problems sculpting, to be honest. But I think we're there. Okay, so turn off face direction. We're all good. I've no idea why that's doing that. I think there might be a glitch, but this could be me pretending that I don't know what it is, and actually I really know, and I'll find out later. I mean, I'll know later. Whatever. Is it a dog box? No, it could be double face, couldn't it? Let's just select all and with A and M by distance. I'll bring that distance. None removed, so doesn't seem to be. It could be something like that, but we'll see. Yeah, just remove doubles indeed. Yeah. Look like lollipop squares. I heard of a new add-on to make retopology much easier. There's a few out there. Retopo Flow is one, the most popular, I think. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I should apply the scale, but remember I started with the default cube and didn't scale at all. So before you unwrap, it is best to apply the scale. Bellage B, that's a good point. Last active face, it could be. Nice, like that. Make space for inside inserts. Not sure what that is. Anyway, so I've got my new texture, box norms, to bake onto. I need that to be in my shader editor though. So Shift A to add texture, image texture, and I want to come into here with my drop down. There's box norms. Okay. So you just got to make sure that's selected, so it's highlighted white like this. Don't know why they highlight it white in the node editor, and then it's always yellow and orange and orange and yellow, isn't it? In the viewport, it doesn't make sense to me that. Yes, Blender test guy. Sorry about that. Hard to sculpt with a low-end laptop. You could do some texture painting. That's the if you've got low-end PC, low poly work, and think of mobile game assets, so texture painting and things like that. That's the best way. Okay, so we're ready to bake our normals. In order to bake, we need to take the high poly and select that first. And then select the low poly, create LP last. So they've both got to be visible, of course, for this to work. And what did I say? I need to make sure it's shade smooth as well, didn't I? So let's just see the low poly. It is shade smooth. I can see it there. It looks dreadful, but it's going to look amazing in a second. So high poly first, make sure that's visible, create low poly last. And remember, you must be in cycles for this to work. So there's cycles render engine under the render tab just here. Thanks Milan, and thanks for all your support, much appreciated. Yeah, the Atlas Empires videos would be good to watch. I'll probably make some more of those soon. We got some more work from them, so probably be doing a few more. You just paint the low poly, in fact, but you do a cavity bake first, and I'll show you that in a second. We'll have enough time for that. Okay, so where was I? Yep, so high poly first, low poly last. So select and then control select the low poly. I mean, you can do it in the viewport. I'm going to go to object mode actually, so I know that there's no issues. It doesn't really matter actually. I could go to edit mode, but we shouldn't make any difference. And in the render tab under cycles, you can go down to the bake tab. If I'm in Eevee, I'll show you what it looks like in Eevee. Disappears because you can't bake in Eevee. It doesn't work like that. It's not ray tracing, and baking uses rays. So if I go down to bake, we've got some bake options, and I want the normals. Remember I called this box norms over here. There's my texture in the shader editor ready, and there is that bake from multi-res option there. We can't use it because it's glitchy, but if I click normals, I can then go down to here where it says selected to active. So bake type normal and selected to active. I'll tick that and press the down arrow. So selected crate HP, and active is crate LP, and it's using this material that may cause problems, but we'll see in a second. Oh, you're doing the well. Good stuff, Darkside. Keep going. So then we have this ray distance option. Remember I was talking about ray casting? So the low poly is looking for the high poly. It's casting out lots of rays to see what the high poly looks like and what to put on the normal map. And there's a ray distance. How far am I going to go with these rays? And we can put that up. Generally, you sort of it varies a lot, but it is in meters. So this is 7 centimeters it's going to cast in, and you can actually think about your actual scale, and this is 2 meters big, so we might go, let's say 30 centimeters in. You'd think, oh, why don't you just chuck it up to 1? But if you're casting those rays really deep in, the corners go a little bit weird, so you have to watch out for that. So as low as you possibly can without getting glitches. So last check, got the texture selected in the low poly texture field, in material. In fact, I'll call this box LP. What is baking? You're about to find out. It's amazing. It's taking the information from the high poly onto the low poly as a texture. So got my texture selected in box LP, got the crate high poly selected and the crate LP selected last. It's going to the normal map and it's selected to active. I should be able to press bake now. And here's my normal map. It's started and the baking process is happening there. Happened fairly quickly. And we just check if I press Control Spacebar, it should look nice and clean like this. If you've got any weird glitches, like really sort of odd flecks of green, or in fact, I'll make a glitchy one, but it should look like this. I'll make a glitchy one by bringing the ray distance down to 0. So it's got no rays to work with. It shouldn't work particularly well, this. Let's just check. Yeah. So if you've got a glitchy one like this with all this grey, greeny, browny stuff, something's gone wrong and it won't work. But if I put the ray distance up to something like 0.3, so 30 centimeters in this case, and press bake, remember the high poly selected first. I say this because it's such a process, isn't it? But once you get used to it, it's quite easy. Then we high poly selected first, active is the low poly, press bake, and we come up with, wait for it, Control Spacebar. Ta-da! Look at that beautiful normal map we've got there. Image, save your normal map. Save as. This is going to be box norms tutorial 3 or whatever. How many of these are done? And it looks quite a nice normal map, doesn't it? If you know normal maps, it looks nice. It looks really nice. I like your normal map. Okay. Oh, dear. That went down the wrong way. Yes, so baking, obviously with the high poly, let's just explain a little bit. I'll hide the low poly. This is really dense. If I go to edit mode, it's not thick as in stupid, it's just dense. Grant. Oh, that's such a dad joke. Sorry. But it's got loads and loads of polygons and it's very, very detailed. That wouldn't work for a game, especially we're going to have loads of these crates everywhere because it's Crate-mageddon is the game we're designing. So we need to reduce that by baking all the information from the high poly, putting it into textures onto the low poly. yeah, make sure you save your work. So into out of edit mode, and now we can then hook this one up. I'll hide the high poly for the moment, and hook this up to the normal map. So you'd think you just go color into the normal map, but that's a yellow to a blue. No, no, no. We need Shift A, vector, normal map. So under vector and then normal map, and put that into the middle. So you go color to the color and normal to the normal. But there's one thing missing. Let's see what it looks like first. So if I come over to here and to Eevee, it's not looking too bad. But if I change the color space to non-color data, it looks that little bit better. Nice and clean. There's our box looking. Mwah. Why is the normal map colored like this? Now that's interesting because you've got bump maps and normal maps. Bump maps are black and white. So you can sort of put black and white information and say white is up, black is down. Okay? Or black is stay the same, white is up. And you think about that like white is 100% light and black is no percent light. So you can sort of think about it in terms of light. Excuse me. There's no Rona here, by the way. So the normal map's one step further because it actually thinks about the angle the light's coming in at. So let's say something's sticking out. What is it? I don't know. Sort of a cube sticking out like this. Well, bump maps will just say go upwards. But what about the light, which direction the light's coming from? And is there any information in that direction as well? So normal map's just that step further. It thinks about the direction of light as well as just up or down. So it's, and that's why you have different colors on it. How come the different faces in the texture are wonky while the faces on the model are square? Yeah, when it unwrapped, it sort of pushed these bits in because remember, it's when it's unwrapped, it's got to sort of curve it out into. Otherwise, these areas wouldn't have any texture space in here, so it's got to sort of flatten them out. It looks weird when it goes wonky like this. I'm not sure what algorithm it's using there, but it's thinking about the way my polygons are built, and they're a bit. There's lots of triangles in there and stuff, so it's warped itself, and that's a bit. I could tidy that up, but we won't go into that because it's a pain. How would you exaggerate the normal map? Turn the exaggerate button up, the strength up, and you get this weird effect like this. Generally, you don't. You don't do it. You use a cavity map instead to exaggerate the shadows, which we're going to bake next. Okay, so on to the next bit. I haven't been to the Discord recently. What are we? Ray distance might be up too high, but that's definitely a ray distance problem. What happened there? I like it. It's looking good. Restoring your account. Excellent. You can always pause on this. That looks good. Is that with the normal map? Is that sculpt? Either way, it's looking good. That's with the smart UV project, isn't it? That's good. That's using mirror. Actually, I was a low-end laptop. Sorry. Okay, it's a bit of a pain, isn't it? Sorry to hear that. That looks good. Yep, good unwrap. Looking good. Looking good. Here's all quad crate. We probably needed that to start off with, didn't we? Yeah, baking's pretty awesome, isn't it? So we've got this low poly object that's got this many faces, which is actually kind of high, really. I probably could have optimized this a bit more. But what are we? If I select all, I need to go back to my OLED. If I go into layout mode, we can see it a bit. Then, so into edit mode, select all. So we've got triangles, 230. So it's quite a low poly crate, really. But with 230 polygons, we've got this really detailed, awesome, amazing, fantastic, stupendous looking crate. If I do say so myself. Okay, but we're not finished. But wait, there's more. It's very exciting, this. I do love this. I love baking because you get some nice bread at the end. Whoa. No, because it makes things look cool for low cost. Low cost baking. Okay, we want to bring back the high poly. If it doesn't crash, I better save my work, hadn't I? File, save. I'll just save as is. But the more important is to save your image. Yeah, everything gets triangulated in the game engine. That's why you look at tries and not faces, really. Some people look at verts because that's even more important, apparently. I can't remember what the reasoning is behind that. You get nice brownies when you bake. It's got to be vegan brownies really there. I don't know why I said that. Sorry, what an idiot. Just because I'm talking all the time, I just end up saying something stupid. It's bound to happen. The more I talk, the more chances. You do need to watch this, Frank. Yes, and watch all the adverts as well. That's very important. I didn't realise I had this cool advert button. I can just insert an ad. That's a way everybody can support me. I could just put an ad on. It's just so weird, though, isn't it? Oh, I don't know whether I could do that, but I'll think about that when I need a wee. Anyway, where am I going? So back with the high poly. Right, we need to do something to this in order to bake the information about the cavities. Okay, this is, wait for it, this is cool. So we don't want this to have the box low poly texture, or material, sorry. So I'm going to create a new one for the high poly, which I've got selected now. Oh, did I just delete the low poly one? Let me just see. I did, yeah. Let's just get that back and make sure I've got the create high poly selected this time. I'm in edit mode, that's why I went a bit weird there. So create low poly has the box low poly. Create high poly, I'm going to create a new one. And this is going to be called box high poly. So it's going to have a separate texture. Now remember, you must be in cycles for this. I'll just go full screen for the moment. And I'm going to Shift A to add, what is it? Input geometry. There we go. Input geometry. There's the geometry node. And it's the pointiness. This is a really cool device. If you don't know about this, then look at Node School and work your way through those, because I talk about how you use the pointiness node. So if I press Control Spacebar again, it's not done anything yet. Let's get rid of low poly for a moment. Okay, we can't see any difference. It's not doing anything, but we need a color ramp to give it some oomph. So Shift A, Converter, Color Ramp, and put that in the middle. And now watch what happens when I bring the blacks up and bring the whites down. Not much, because thinking, why is nothing happening? Because I made that purposeful mistake again. You have to be in cycles for this to work, which I just said, didn't I? And I forgot to actually turn across the cycles. So I'll give it a few seconds. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So I'm going to... it lost my effect, though. So I'll go back to... See, not much has happened. But wait. When I bring the blacks up, you can see the crevices coming up. See in the crevices? It's going dark, and then the whites up. Those are the bits, the sticky outy bits, which are the sticky outy bits. What do you call them? Crevices and ridges. Okay, so you can see how it's gone a bit too dark in there, so we've brought our blacks up a bit too much. Because remember, you can bake this and then increase it afterwards, so make sure you don't overdo it. And you probably go about 0.4. It looks like black at the moment, but that's actually shadows. That's being a bit awkward. Let's find a bit which hasn't got too much shadows. So just there, it looks a touch glitchy, but I think we're right. So that 0.4 is the magic number usually, and the white 0.6 is the magic number. So pretty much there. Okay, and we've got this sort of cavity looking thing now, and it's working quite well. So we've got a bit of darkness in the cavities. Again, you can go a little bit further if you want, but that might go a bit too far and you start getting these dark areas like this. So you can click on the color and type in 0.4 grant, and 0.6. Okay, and that's the magic number. But how do we get this information from the high poly to the low poly? For what can you use scripts in Blender? I think everything. You can program everything if you want to. Austrian stamp lover. Does this mean we don't need a roughness map like we need with bumps? You can use this for a roughness map. Just see if there's any other questions up here. Yep, I think that's all at the moment. Okay, so how do we get this information across? Well, have a think. You might know. You can always type that in for a gold star if you like. How do we get the information across? Well, of course it's baking, but what do we bake? So I'm going to bring back my low poly. Oh, carbon copy. Thank you very much. I'm procrastinating. Thank you for your service.
Ooh, well, thank you very much.
Am I aiding in your procrastination, though? Or are you stopping procrastinating because you're watching this, perhaps? Oh, there's lots of people on today, actually. 310. That's more than usual. I'm surprised, actually, because I get the feeling like I'm really rambling, and being a bit rubbish today. Let's just quickly double check. Oh, looking good, Minato. Is this with the ramp, the color ramp? I didn't duplicate it. What do I do? Have you still got the multi-res on you? Otherwise, you've lost the multi-res details, which would be a bit of a killer. But put it down to experience. It is a good experience, and you'll understand next time you've got to have 2 copies. So Shift D to duplicate. On one, you keep the multi-resolution modifier, so you apply it with the top subdivision levels, and on the other one, you keep it as low poly. In the future, we'll be able to bake straight from the multi-resolution modifier, hopefully, but that's glitchy at the moment. I have sent a bug report to Blender. Hopefully, I mean, I think it might just be on the normal maps that it's glitching, but it was glitching quite badly. And we'll be back to where we were. 30 more than last time, is that right? And we're back down now, though. Are we supposed to bevel the crate? No, we don't need to. If you notice, if I go turn off the high poly, that's our low poly. It looks a bit weird because of the lighting, actually. Yeah, it's looking strange because there's only one light in the scene. It doesn't understand how to process it. But you can see all those lumps and bumps there, so you don't need to bevel it. It will assume that that edge is sort of the normal style from the normal map. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we want to get from the high poly. So I'll make that visible again. I'm going to go back to Eevee just for the sake of the look dev mode, just to see what's going on here. But remember, in Eevee, you won't be able to see your cavity masks, or this thing, the pointiness node, which we've got there, okay? So I need a new texture, though, don't I, to bake onto. So we come over to here, new texture, which is this button here, new image, sorry, new texture, same thing. And we'll call this box cav. Okay, so cavities. Again, 1024 by 1024 is fine for a crate. You might want to go to 2048. Let's say you're doing this for production and someone wants to, I don't know, put a box in the background or something like that. But then you probably, anyway. Could I post the normal map in Discord? Sure, yeah. I'll do that in just a second. It won't work on anybody else's box though, because it has to be this particular box. But I can make this file available if you need it. Okay, box cav. Okay, so it's all gone black, so that's the new texture. So with the low poly, we need that new texture in here, don't we? So I'll copy this one, Shift D. I can obviously press Shift A, image, texture, and all that sort of thing. But Shift D, just duplicate this one and change it to the box cav. Okay, box cavity. So now make sure that's selected, make sure it's white, because if you've got your box norm selected, you're going to bake over your box norms. Okay, so don't do that. The crate is done, yeah, but we want to put some color on it in a second. Wait for it. Okay, so the box cavity, that's what we're baking to. Get the high poly, low poly last. Remember, look, we know on the high poly because look, box high poly material, low poly last, and make sure the box cav is selected. That's the texture we're baking to, the one that's selected. Now in the bake panel, obviously we're still in cycles, so the bake panel appears down here. We change it to the diffuse. Okay, where's the diffuse gone? There it is, down there. Okay, so that will now, if I just, I'll click on the HP again. So the base color is diffuse, okay? So that will take whatever's on the base color of the high poly and bring it across to the low poly. Okay, so everything else is the same. So ray distance should stay the same because nothing's moved. We're just changing the diffuse. Now we can press bake. This usually takes a little bit longer, and it depends how detailed your mesh is. Whilst we're waiting, let's look at the Discord server. You can see it baking down there. There's the percentage. If you get any error messages down there, then actually just look at what they say. But generally, if you've done what I've said, should be fine. I say that as if it's simple. Oh, looking good. Beleros 3D candy bar. It should be like, yeah, I'm not sure what they're saying there. But I think, what the heck's happened there? That's quite funny. It could be, remember, non-color data. Remember to change that. Bit behind. No, you're doing well. Look at that. Looking good. What's happened here then, Minato? No, that's microwave dirt, sorry. It looks like your bake just hasn't worked for some reason. That looks like a glitch, actually, that does. But are you definitely on normals? Because it should turn blue with normals. How did you make that dot? What is it? It's a cut. I can't remember what it is now to do the dot. Yeah, Node Wrangler you have to have installed for that. Okay, so there we go. Oh, I made a mistake. And we know what that mistake is. You get a gold star for this. Obviously, I meant to do that mistake. Obviously, I meant to make that mistake. But you can see I've got some light information there from my spot lamp in there. And that's what I didn't want to do. So if I come across, I'm just reading if there's any questions. But what the mistake I made, and just seeing if anybody comes up with it. But if I come down from the bake here, direct and indirect with Larry Pete, you get it. You get the gold star. They're doing very well currency-wise at the moment. Yeah, the gold stars. Yeah, surprising. So your mistake, indeed. So where has it gone? And where is it gone actually? Why am I being weird here? There it is. It looks different in 2.9. There's direct and indirect. We just want the color information. So I was, obviously I meant to do that to show you what the color information looks like. So the light, which I think is over here somewhere, yeah, over there, is casting some color information which we don't want. I mean, you might like that. You can bake all the lighting information if you want. So let's say you had an environment and you know there's not going to be any lights in the game or something. You bake everything to the textures, including the lights you've made, and then you don't have to calculate any lights. Anyway, going off on one there. Just color. So I'm going to bake that again. Everything's still the same, so you just should be able to press bake again, but make sure you've got the texture selected. High poly then, low poly selected to active that is, and so on. Are you not using an HDRI for the light? Not at the moment. No, not at the moment. But if I had an HDRI, it would have shown that information as well, for the light from it anyway. Of course, indeed. Okay, so here we've got our cavity bake. And it's looking good. We've got a little bit too much black in there, but that doesn't really matter too much. We should be right. But you can see we've got all those cavities there. So the cavities and the ridges, the crevices and ridges. So now we can take this information and use it in our material. So make sure image save as, and I'll call this, what is it again? Box cav shoot follow along 3. Save. Right. Back to previous. Control spacebar is the shortcut for that if you didn't know. Okay, so we've got this box cavity here that's saved, and we've got the box normal. So if I plug this in, let's just see what it looks like. And now I don't need my high poly anymore. I can actually, if I was being crazy, I could delete it. You can bake things like ambient occlusion as well, but I don't find it helps that much really. Not in a big way. Okay, let's just zoom into our cube, and there we go. It's not looking too bad. We just could do with a bit of colour on there, couldn't we? And we can use this cavity. We could use it both for the shininess as well, although generally the wood's kind of the similar shininess throughout. I mean, it depends how detailed you go. But we can certainly use this for a colour. So what I'll do up here, I'll just bring this down because I don't need it so much anymore. I'm going to Shift A, add a colour and a mix RGB. Okay, so I'm going to mix this colour on the bottom there with a brown colour. So I'll choose a brown colour. But at the moment, I'm just mixing between the brown and the white. Okay, so that's not great, is it? So what I want is to use just the dark bits to make my brown darker and the light bits to make my brown lighter. And there's a mix mode here called overlay that does that. So I change it to overlay, squeaky squeaky, it does exactly that. Will this work the same if my box is brown? Hopefully I'm answering that now. If I make multiple textures in a single file, could it be great for performance of games? How do you mean in a single file? Do you mean on the alpha channel? Yes, they do that in Unity and things like that. They use a different channel for different textures, but I'm not sure if that's what you mean. How long would it take to create a crate like this if I was an average user? I would say this would take about, I think I did this in half an hour the other day, about half an hour. There's more you can do. I mean, it looks very sort of simple crate at the moment. We could certainly add some texture to this. We can paint some texture on and we can sort of increase this sort of box cavity. We can go a bit further, and I'll do this quickly just so you can see what more you can do. Does Blender's procedural materials work in Unity Game Engine? No, you have to bake them like I'm doing here. So you'd have to bake the base color. So if I use let's say a texture, a noise texture, and I plug this into the color. In fact, no, before I do that, so this noise texture, I'm going to duplicate this and use this, just use the factor. So the noise, which looks like this, I haven't got the node wrangler on. Edit preferences, because I'm in 2.9. Edit preferences, add-ons, make sure node wrangler is installed. There we go, tick that and close. Edit preferences, node wrangler, really useful because I can control shift click on these. So you can see the noise there, so that would be handy if I've got a noise texture and I use that as the factor. So the black bits are going to be the top one. Am I saying that right? No, that's not right, is it? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'll change it. Well, we'll see what it does. The black bits, and so if I go from here, control shift click. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's on overlay, sorry, mix. Yeah, so the black bits are the top, aren't they? Let me just check that. So the black bits are the top. So that texture there. So we'll make this brown. Yeah, just had to think about that then. And we'll make this a different sort of brown. So we got not too distant, but okay. So we've got a sort of mix. No, I mean that's pretty dreadful, and I think hand painting would do a lot better, or textures, even putting some textures on there and stenciling. But if I plug that into the top color now and go from this one, we've got that noise here offering some noise there, and we could mix that up and do some finer noise and all sorts with the node tree here. But then that's going into the overlay here, that's adding our crevices and things and the highlights as well. You could even go a stage further than this, but wait, there's more. And we can use this and we can make it a bit more stylized. We can add a converter, color ramp, and chuck that in there. Make the darks come out a bit more, the lights come out a bit more as well. And you get a really sort of stylized looking crate there. I mean, it's not great on the crevices. I mean, I could add some ambient occlusion. I'm probably going a bit quick now, aren't I? Let's go back to Eevee. Because we don't need cycles anymore. We've baked it all, so it'll all work in Eevee now. Put some ambient occlusion in there. Oh, it's got to go through here though. And it's looking a touch better, isn't it? Touch better, not fantastic. But I'd like to go in and texture paint it. So I'd have a texture plugged into here and then the overlays. So it'd be very simple texture, but just boosting it a little bit. Am I making sense still? I feel like I'm really rambling, but hopefully I'm making sense. Yeah, so from this point, I would start hand painting. But I'm not going to do that today because it's probably just taking the whole tutorial a bit too far. And hopefully 2 hours worth of this sort of stuff, just too much in it. So also what we can do with this cavity is if I bring this up here and I'll bring both these down, Shift D. So this is still the box cav, so this is this thing. Let's see what this looks like again. So at the moment, dark bits in the crevices. But generally speaking, if we want to use this for the roughness, we need it the reverse, don't we? Because the rougher the texture, the white bits will show rougher texture. Okay, so remember, white is full, black is 0. So white being full roughness, black being no roughness. So these bits would be really shiny, these black bits, and the white bits would be really rough. So we want to just invert this. So we can use the color ramp for that. We can go, well, we can flip it. So we'll flip color ramp. Is the quick way. And then plug that into the roughness. Now I think this will probably go, oh, it's not going too shiny actually. So yeah, the edges are shinier and the crevices are rougher. I mean, it's not amazing. And I'd want to sort of paint that and change it a bit more, but actually it's not done such a bad job, even with these values, which is weird. Probably wouldn't be that shiny at any point, and maybe a touch more rough. I mean, you can change this as well, so it's grey, so it's not really shiny at all. And we're sort of getting there more with the crate, aren't we? But I would like to add a bit more colour to it if it were down to me. I mean, we could do all sorts in here and do some mixed nodes. Maybe with a Musgrave as well. Don't know what a Musgrave, probably a Musgrave, yeah. And then duplicate this, Shift D, put that in there. So we've got a noise texture there, Musgrave texture. In fact, let's duplicate this one, Shift D, Musgrave coming into here, into the factor for these two, and then into there, and a bit of blend between two, and we got even more sort of variation. We got a bit of noise. We can up the noise scale, I was thinking, so there's a bit finer noise, and then there's a Musgrave texture doing bigger bits, so it's a little bit more sort of woodeny, and I think that combined with maybe a bit of yellow and yeah, anyway, I think you get the idea, hopefully. You can use invert node instead of reversing the color ramp. I just like the color ramp because then you can actually dial it in or out, can't you? And change things about. So I prefer that. And there we go. It's not great because it's not texture painted. I'll very quickly show that. So across to the text painting, and we'll need a new texture. So new base color, and this is box LP base color. That will do for now, and I'll make it a brown color. So about here. Press OK. Where's my pen gone? Let's go across to the what do you call it? The look dev. Am I in texture paint? Yeah, I am in texture paint. I always like to bring down and get the shader editor out as well. I always think they should just have that by default so we can see what we're painting. Because, if I press N on there, I want to know that I've definitely got this node selected. So instead of these two, and this one in fact, I'd use a texture paint. So this is my base color, and that would go into the top here. And then I can start coming in, maybe a bit of random color. So here's my brushes down here. Let's sample this color first. So we've got the same sort of color, and then I can just come into here. I could use a mirror for this time. So let's come across here. Where's my mirror? There it is. And I'll choose X, Y, and Z, and just not do the middle bit. With a bit of yellow. Oh, I can't do the middle bit. Just said that, Grant. So yeah. So a few lines in these bits, and that should be repeating all over the place. Yes, it is. And let's just mix this up, get a few different lines in there. Probably not so much strength actually. So I'm being really rough, but you can get the idea of what I'm doing. Just mix up the colors. I should just do it all on the top actually, because that should be mirroring around. And I find the roughness a bit distracting when I'm painting, and I can always change that in a bit, so I'll just turn that off and put it all the way to rough, and then I can see what I'm painting, if that makes sense. And we can have a bit of screen, so I'll give this a bit more of a orangey colour, just highlight the edges there. I mean, I'm going a little bit over the top, but you sort of see what's going on, and then some multiply in here. Let's get a bit darker, maybe across the blues even. And oh, I've got the mirror on still. This is where I have to turn it off because I stupidly didn't mirror. But then you can sort of draw in the cavities a bit, and you just have to go around drawing in the cavities. I mean, hopefully you'll do a better job than this, but I'm just doing a really, really basic job, which you can probably tell. I don't know, can you tell that I'm doing a basic job? And maybe a bit of dirt in there, a bit of crevices in there, a bit of dirt in there, and maybe back to the mix these up, a few lines that are different, put my symmetries back on. Okay, and there, we got a sort of very rough cube. I think, you know, when you get to this stage, you start thinking, oh, I could just do a little bit more and it'll look even cooler. Maybe with a screen brush. A bit too yellow. Oh, I'm going too far now, aren't I? A little bit too far, but it looks a bit muddy, doesn't it? I'm trying to avoid painting the middle there because I have to go around to each one. Oh, I'm messing up now, aren't I? It sort of just about works, really, doesn't it? Just about. I feel like that's just too much though with the yellow. Just bring the strength down. Bring the strength down, Graham. That's all it needs. Just the strength brought down a touch. There we go. Yeah, I'll show you Unity. Yeah, I'll do that as well, because that's what people always want to know, is how can I put this in my game engine? Just adding a bit of variation. I can't help but keep going. Let's do some multiply now. Okay, I've got to make it look even cooler. Just a few places. Let's add a bit of red in there as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm being really rushy, but you sort of get the idea. Hopefully you get the idea anyway. Okay, so we got a sort of reasonably okay cube. I'll plug my roughness back in. So we got that working. Is that all right for roughness? It looks a bit too shiny actually, doesn't it? If it's too shiny, then you turn down this grey and bring it more to white. You see, that will take it all the way to rough. Just a touch there. That's all right now, isn't it? I mean, yeah, it could look a lot better. But now what we've got here then, we've piled up here, haven't we? So this wouldn't go into Unity. We'd have to change it in Unity, and that'd be a bit awkward. But we could just use the cavity. It's not impossible, and it's not the best use of the cavity with roughness, but it's one way of using it. And the bake here, and also for the color as well, we've got this information. So what you do, you create a new texture, and I'll call this finished box color. That's a really useful title there. Okay, so we've got that, and I want to send this across to Unity. Well, I use, instead of selected to active this time, I just have my low poly selected, and I'll have to use cycles because it's raycasting again. You have to use cycles. Down to bake, and just to diffuse, not using the color, unless you wanted some light information there as well. But we turn off selected to active, so we just bake. This will go into this new texture. However, I must make sure, Shift D, that I select. You probably can't see that actually, so I'll zoom in. Can you see it right? Yeah. Finished box color. Always remember, always forget that I've got my head in the way of this one. Finished box color. Make sure that's selected. So my information in my base color, this lot will go onto here now. Okay. So with color selected, with diffuse selected, with selected to active turned off, bake. Wait for it. Chug, chug, chug. Oh, tasty, tasty oven bake. Come in. What I'm saying. And it's taken ages, isn't it? I'm surprised it's taken this long, because it should be fairly low poly. I suppose it shouldn't really take too long. Why are you taking so long? Anyway, let's see how you're getting on. Sorry, yeah. Forgot about this. This is looking good. Minotto. Very nice. You've got RGB selected there, which you might not be able to see, but change that to non-color data, and it will stop this wobbly lines and stuff here. This is looking nice, isn't it? Well done. Oh, that's looked really good. Did you use a texture then for this one? It's really lovely. I like that, and it's nicely worked. That is. Some lighting changes, please. Nobody felt Hughes. Oh, what the heck is going on here? How do I delete these? I thought you just turned off. If I just quickly go to layout, there's my texture, by the way. Hold on. If I quickly go to layout, you've got the measure tool, and I thought we just go to the select tool and it goes. I think, anyway. Whoa, what's going on here? What the heck are you doing there? Cool stuff, people. Well done. So let's just quickly go back to Blender. So now, let's go back to texture painting. That's where I was. So here's the new one. Image, save image, or save as. And I'll call this finished box color. I should show you that screen, really, shouldn't I? That's what it's looking like. There's all my other ones. Finished box color, save. Okay, so we saved that. Now there should be no difference when I plug this one in to the other one. So I plug this in, watch my cube, no difference. Okay, now we've got a single texture for the color, and you do the same for if you wanted the roughness. But I mean, to be honest, we can probably use that. I'll just bring the roughness down a tiny bit. So rather than just loading up Unity, I mean, you can probably tell from here that we've got a normal map now and a what's that called? A color. What's it? Albedo. That's the word in Unity. And you can then just select this export it as an FBX or OBJ, or actually just bring it in as a blend file, but I wouldn't suggest that because it's much smaller file size with FBX. Bring that into Unity and then create a new material, put that onto the box, and just insert this for the color and this for the normals, and you're golden. And you've got this beautiful cube inside Unity. Hopefully you've done a little bit of a better job than I did on the paintwork. But it's not awful, is it? It's okay, really. With a little bit of an HDRI in the background, and let's put the contrast up. That's always a good one. Under the color management, chuck that contrast up. Look, high contrast. Oh yeah, there we go. High contrast. Looks loads better. To be fair, I'm on Filmic, and if you use, what is it actually? Standard. It tends to give you more of a closer look to what you're going to get in something like Unity anyway, because it's using a standard color space. Stupendous cube. Does having many smaller UV islands in UV map affect performance in game engines like Unity? No, it doesn't, not at all. But it can cause slight glitches, and you can see the seams sometimes, but the gaps between the islands. Yeah. Any other questions? I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for all those that supported me. There was it Carbon Copy, Milan Caracas, as always, Chai the Papaga, Skynet. I feel like I'm missing one there. And Niles Vervis Lubke. But you wish to call it from the beginning, that you can watch it back. I'll put it in the playlist. Oh, thank you very much for Gam.
Well, thank you very much.
002. Much appreciated. Thank you. So just watch it back. I put all the live streams into a playlist, the live stream playlist, so you can have a look. Let's just take a last look, shall we, at how people... Oh, look at all these, man. Look at all these. So we were up to there with Bilidos. Oh, that's delightful. Look at that. Look at that one. I'm liking it. It's got nice lot of textures in there. It looks really cool. I like that one. And James done a cool job there. Hang on. Work in progress because I just reinstalled a bunch of software. Looks good though. Looks really nice. So that's using stencils probably. I like this one as well. What's that? That's WW Kayak again. Looking delicious. They're doing really well. This is the actual status, Sensai. It's looking good though. Nice work. And Minotto 200. Yes, it's going well, isn't it? I'm glad to see so many people doing well with it. What about the rest of the 280 of you? I want to see it work. Hopefully you're enjoying these. It's quite fun to do. Oh, there's one from Irish Jack. What the heck is this? We don't speak of them. They do not appear in my videos. Love it. Donuts, and yeah, that's the classic game icon. You got a crate, boxes and barrels, isn't it? It's the classic game icons. Now it's boxes, barrels, and donuts. Okay, so if you've got any ideas for game objects that you'd like to see us create and follow along together, I know I rushed it a bit at the end there, but I wanted to get everybody in there. You are a little bit late, Nikhil Verma, but don't worry, you can watch it back. Just look at the playlist. Oh, thank you very much, Sunny Horizon. Watching you and Blender Guru has inspired me to work on my project again, so thank you and keep up the good work. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Not pink icing. Yeah, you gotta have pink icing. The green is a bit weird, actually. The green icing. I'm not sure that's the right choice, really. Maybe I need to do simple ones.
Thank you very much.
That follow just a sort of simple texturing like this, because that's actually a really great result, isn't it? A house. Building a house. So for game, or I mean, it takes quite a while to build a whole sort of house with rooms and things, doesn't it? Low poly or stylized? What do you reckon? I need green icing. Nucleus, thank you. You're watching only my vids, of course. It's the only way to go. And I hope you're watching all the adverts. You know the curvature smooth tool of Daniel Beck-Houcher? Great to make cavities curvature based color maps. Didn't know about that. No. SAR 333. What about a sword? I suppose we ought to do a sword. Anybody up for doing a sword next time? Sword or weapon? Someone else has said it. There we go. Make an opera or theatre, I'm assuming, where we can sit and watch your performances. A C-Shack. Think I'll be alright with a C-Shack with my tutorial series. Yes, there's always got to be one donut in every scene. Do I think Blender's going to be standard in the future? I think it's becoming it's not industry standard as yet, but it's getting pretty close. They're changing the key map as well to coincide. I think it's pretty much there, but it's just got to gain popularity next, and that takes a lot of time, doesn't it? But there's lots going on with Blender. It is a fantastic piece of software, and it's free, so it's kind of a no-brainer for studios to maybe start moving across. And we do hear a lot about studios that are taking up Blender. So I managed to get a lot of work. I have to turn down work, in fact, with using Blender. But people don't really care what you use a lot of the time, especially in games, because you're exporting as FBX and OBJs anyway. So people don't worry about it. Will we ever get hard surface modeling follow along live stream? Ooh, interesting. Maybe.
Ooh, well, thank you very much.
Who was that then? Oh, thank you, Grey Chat Gaming. Much appreciated. That's really kind. I had a few donations today. It's really, really kind of everybody. Thank you very much. I've heard of a few game dev studios who let their artists use whatever tools. Yeah, that's really common. Really common. And I did get offered a game studio, and they did ask which software I use, and I said Blender. I didn't hear from them again. No, they seemed fine with the thought of that, but it didn't quite work out. Yeah, so Blender on the up and up. I haven't put it into Unity, but I talk through the process. I mean, it really is simple. You let's do that. File, select it, file, export. Unity will read an FBX or an OBJ. That's probably the best way. I mean, you can load it up in Unity. Once you're in Unity, you just take this baked file that we made and this normal file, and you add it to a thingamajiggy, a material. So it's very, very simple. Thank you very much, Karen Trevino. That's really, really kind. And Gam02, is it 002? Thanks to you both. Much appreciated. I hope you've been following along, and I better check back on Discord and see if there's any more. And what have we got?
Ooh, well, thank you very much.
B. Let's see. This is looking good. Yeah, it's looking cool, isn't it? Nice work. And that's with a bit of a noise texture on there as well. Maybe make that's sort of a bigger noise texture, and then add it to another one that's smaller. It's all happening. Awesome stuff. A low poly axe. Don't worry if you can't donate. No, I appreciate it. Maybe I should run an advert next time. But no, it's great fun. I really enjoy doing these live streams. Just have lots of fun. That's the main thing. It's great if you can donate, because it supports the channel. It keeps me doing them. But don't worry if you can't. I appreciate. Just join in, like the video, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. That's cool. Watch an advert at the beginning. That's brilliant. Anyway, so yes, we've had sword, axe. 2 people said sword, so maybe we'll go for sword next time. Axe is another one. No, FBX, you have to when you export, you always have to add your colors in Unity again. So you'll have to redo. Oh, TSAC, nice. You'll have to add this into the color, the albedo slot, and add this into the normal slot. So you'll need to save these textures and put them into Unity, and then put them in. I'm not working on any games at the moment, but maybe I will at some point. Atlas Empires, a game I've worked for before, have asked me to do some more work for them, so I'll probably be doing that in the near future. And I might be doing that on a live stream, just to sort of chat to people at the same time and talk through what I'm doing. FBX does animation and mesh. That's right, yeah. Axe, harder and better. Yeah, we'll do axe then. We'll go for an axe. I love things like low poly axes. We have good fun. What do we want? Low poly sculpted, which gets a bit detailed. Probably be a bit too long, but low poly hand painted, or just low poly. What do people think? KTB, cool. Game map would be huge. Take ages. Yeah, a huge game. We could all make a. Someone did suggest that. Why not make so we all make a different asset and then we all put it together on a live stream? That'd be pretty crazy, wouldn't it? World of Warcraft style. That's what you're thinking, is it? That would probably take 2 sessions, but we could do that. Low poly, just full stop low poly. I mean, that's it's quite quick to do an axe low poly, so we'll probably only be here about half an hour. Lego pieces. Any chance you could implement some kind of emission particle element in the axe? Be really cool to see more visual effects stuff. Interesting. Maybe. Thor's axe. Does Thor have an axe? I always thought it was a hammer. Maybe he has an axe as well. Stormbreaker. Where's that come from? Stormbreaker. Is Stormbreaker? Oh, hang on. Is that the whole what do you call it thingy? You know, Infinity Wars stuff. Does he have an axe at some point? No, I don't know. Stormbreaker. World of Warcraft style. We could go for that. A hammer, isn't it? Yeah, a hammer. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. 30-minute challenge we could do. Lots of assets, and then we bring them all in. I mean, that would just get crazy. And the problem is when you get sort of high poly assets in there and stuff, and it just messes up. But we could try that at some point. Thanks, Buff Rough Animations. I appreciate that. Okay, so we'll call it a day there. Thanks very much for joining me, and hope you've come out with a great crate. A great crate. It's not easy. Great crate. It's tough to say that many times over. Thor's axe is Stormbreaker. Is that right? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, people. Who's your favourite superhero? I want to hear. Who's your favourite superhero? For those that are left, the hardcore people who are still here. Use those brilliant sculpting brushes. Yeah, you can. We could do. I mean, the sculpting brushes now are pretty good now. We got the draw sharp, and the scrape is much better now. In the studios, we have to use the same 3D software, or we can choose our 3D software. It depends which studio. Some are happy for you to use Blender. I know quite a few people are using Blender. Grant is the favourite superhero. Gold star for you, Tin Cisco. Wolverine is one of my favourites as well. Spooderman. There's another person saying, Grant, that you, oh dear me. I was not expecting that. Don't be silly, people. The Hulk, always a good one. Stanley. Thanos. Teacher's pet application submitted. Oh my goodness, loads of people come up with the same idea. Grant is my favourite superhero. Don't be silly, people. But I am a superhero in disguise. I just get a bit of hay fever now. That's my weakness, is hay fever. Probably the Haribo bear. Bob Ross. Iron Man, yep. There's something about Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man that I don't like. Captain Disillusion. A nice one, Nucleus, thank you for that. Thor, okay. I mask, yeah. I take my mask off and I'm actually Blender Guru under here. G'day. Oh, another crate on Discord. Yeah, I should just quickly check Discord the last time. Oh, there we go. No more crate. Nice work. Top Bao. Yes, that's very good. There's a bit more cartoony than mine. I like that one. Good job. Very nice. Okay. Not sure what's going on there. Anyway, let's come off the Discord, because I can imagine there's going to be lots of spam on there suddenly. Captain Sassy Pants. Tony Stark. I think I'm a Wolverine fan. If there were any super powers, it would be nice to have super healing. Because I used to get ill all the time and injured all the time. I'm much better since I changed my diet, but still I'm getting old, and I don't like getting old either. But you can't say Superman, because that's just silly. He's got all the attributes. Spider-Man's pretty cool. It's got to be said. Blender Guru. Anyway, after that little quick chat and chill out time, we'll call it a day. So thank you very much for joining me. Like I say, it was very enjoyable. Thank you to all those. I'm more like Green Lantern. Not sure why. Truth and Justice, that's what it is. SpongeBob. Mystique, that's a good one, isn't it? Oh, Mystique. Brilliant stream, mate. Thank you very much. Niles Vervis. How do you pronounce it? Luke K? Will you make Unity tutorials? Not really. I mean, I'm just not a specialist in Unity. I put stuff into Unity just to see what it's going to look like, but that's about it, really. Anyway, so, yep. Good to see you all. Good to just chat for a bit as well. Thank you very much. And, yeah, so Friday is the stream with Raymond's character, so a bit more character. Well, it should be onto the text stream pretty soon, so I'll be doing some text drawing and texture painting for that. And next Wednesday we'll be doing another one of these. Probably an axe by the sound of things. Let me know in the live stream chat. Your thoughts and suggestions. You can go to the suggestions just here, or you can go to video topic suggestions. Yeah, but just make sure you at Grant, and then I'll know. But I'm probably going to go with axe because it's great fun, isn't it? Nice work, everybody. It was good fun. And I will see you hopefully Friday, if not next Wednesday, or just around. Happy blending.